Hey guys, welcome to the Powerful Man Show, where we help married businessmen save their marriages without having to talk about it, get unstuck, and gain clarity in their lives. As I like to say, life is too short for average. I'm your host, Doug Holt. Now let's get this started. Hey guys, and welcome back. As you can see, if you're watching this, we got our special guest back. Nanette, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much, Doug. So happy to be here.
Yeah, we had a great response from your previous episode. And guys, if you haven't had a chance to hear Nanette's other episode, go over to thepowerfulman.com/podcast and you can find it there. This topic today is what makes a man attractive to his partner. We're going to get a woman's point of view today. So I thought today I would throw out a few ideas from what I hear from the women and the wives, as well as the men. And Annette, you can let me know if I'm way off base and what you're seeing as well. Does that sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
So I'll start off first, Annette, with one, and maybe we'll just bounce back and forth, and you can add to that, and we'll go from there. So the one thing that I consistently hear from the wives of the men that come through the program is something that makes a man attractive to his partner is a man that is growing. So a man that is continuously growing and improving upon himself. And the analogy that I use, Nanette, when I'm talking to the guys is that when you got married, your wife looked at you like a stock, like something you would invest in. And what she saw in your eyes and who you are was the trajectory of growth that you were going to have within your marriage, your relationship, and you as an individual man on your own journey. And over time, what happens is a lot of men stop investing in themselves, not just talking about financially, but just in their own growth. And it's as if their stock starts to plummet and go down, and their wives are watching and looking and going, come on, when is this going to grow back to where I thought it would be? And it doesn't happen for a lot of men. And so when a man takes action and starts to grow on that trajectory again, he starts to become more attractive to his partner. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, a lot of guys, though, they do get stuck in like they're growing when it comes to work, but then they're forgetting their personal life as well. And that's sometimes where it does get tricky as well, because they think that they're doing great because they're doing good in work. And that's the main focus. But then they forget that there's, more things to life than just work. So that's also a big thing that I hear a lot.
So you mean you can't just say, I do, get married, and then just forget about the relationship?
Exactly. And think that, oh, well, it's okay because I'm providing, I'm getting her everything she needs, like, money wise, that's not enough.
Yeah, there's more to marriage or more to a relationship or more to somebody's life than just finances. And I think what happens for a lot of us men, and I fell into this too, is you get married and you're kind of like, okay, check. That box, that thing is solved. We've said I love you. I don't have to revisit this again. Now I got to go out there and conquer in these other areas. And unless you as a man, unless you're really studying, just like business, just like investing, you would consistently be sharpening your saw and getting better and better. What a lot of men forget to do this is within their personal relationships.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, yeah. And then it just becomes routine and just like the life at home is just something that is just, it's almost like they're just, going home. It's like a routine where they just go home, maybe have dinner with the family and then go to bed and go back to work. And it's just, they're not really working on themselves when it comes to the relationship
Yeah,
or
exactly.
out of work, really.
And so, from a woman's point of view, Nanette, when you see a man who is working on himself, is working on his relationship, and is trying to better himself, not only for himself, but also for his family, just you personally, but also maybe take a holistic point of view from a woman's point of view. What do you see when you see that happen?
I mean, that's always like when you see, like, just based on like other people's relationships, when you see, a really good relationship, it's usually because the man is working on himself. He's constantly like trying to be the best version of himself. And everyone can see that because he's not just doing well at work, he's doing well in social settings, he's doing well with the kids. He's sort of got, and he's even doing well within himself. Like he's got hobbies, he's happy, he's in a good place, and you can feel his energy. And then you see that that is also making his wife, like so attracted to him, and they're happy, and you can actually feel it. It's not just they're fake happy, just pretending to get along with it. They're actually, you can feel the energy between them because he's in a good place and she's bouncing off of that.
I love it. So you've already given these guys a couple other points of view. So I'll break it down from a man's point of view, what you said, because I know I've been on both sides of this coin. And what I mean by that, I've been in what we call deactivated mode as a man, where you're conquering everything else in your business life, but your marriage and relationship isn't working. And I've also been on the activated side. So one of the things you said I thought was really great that makes a man attractive is also, I'm going to call it his leadership within the family, right? When a man takes the leadership of the family, leadership of himself, the woman often will follow that lead, assuming he's not being a jerk. So guys, when I say taking leadership, it's not being a jerk at all. It's actually you're leading by example is really what I'm trying to say, and leading energetically. Is that true?
100%. Exactly.
So guys, when I say this as well, and what Nanette was voicing is when as a man, you start to invest in yourself, right? Your stock starts to go up. Then when you take leadership from a place of love and self-control, right? Your self-control of yourself, not control of your wife. That's not what we're talking about. A leader leads and people choose to follow a good leader. They don't feel they have to follow that good leader. So when the man leads, the woman is feeling safer within the marriage and she's more interested in being along that ride. Thus, the man's just the guy. What happens for us guys, this is great for a lot of you guys that are over 40 or so, is a woman will often say a guy looks better and you didn't even have to do anything, guys. That's the coolest part about this whole deal.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it just becomes like you said, the energy just changes everything. And you just start seeing that person in a different light when they are just like working on themselves and in a good place. It just shows in every aspect, like just in even in the way they're playing with their kids, in the way they're talking to people. And then it's also, when someone is working on themselves, they're also working on the idea that life is short and we have one life to live and we should be making the best out of it and not getting stuck in like certain ruts and just, having a boring life. No, when he's working on himself, he's doing things that make him happy. And he realizes how important it is to, fill your cup and then to enjoy it with the family as well and make memories with the family that, will always be there for the kids to look back to and just making life count, really.
Oh, I love it. And we have, Nanette's an advisor with us. So gentlemen, if you're looking to find out if the powerful man, the activation method is the right fit for you, we have an application process. It's for business owners and executives only. And Nanette is one of the people that you may talk to just to make sure that it's the right fit for you. We don't just take anybody. We want to make sure it's the right fit and that we can actually help you. And I say all that because we're actually in a Slack channel together, Nanette, what's called Client Wins, where we literally celebrate all the wins of the guys. And recently someone posted, I think it was this morning, because there's so many posts going through there, that a guy's wife had moved out. She had taken the kids. He was home alone. And so he started doing these things. We've only mentioned a couple guys. We'll mention a few others. A few of these things for, I think it was 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And his wife surprised him, brought the kids over, and he maintained this energetic state, right? He was working on himself. He was developing himself. He was leading himself.
Yeah.
And it was so obvious to his wife, again, energetically, this is really important to women more so than it is to us guys,
Mhm.
that, his wife was leaving with the kids and turned to him and said, can we come back and move back in the house? And this is only 3 weeks.
I know. I read that this morning and I was in tears because it was so beautiful. And I thought it was amazing how as well he had said that, he had started taking care of himself. He had started doing the work, even though he was in a really bad place. Like he had no hope, but he was still listening to the coaches. He was showing up, doing what he needs to do within the program and the movement. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like she just showed up. It was amazing. And he was like, I was 100% ready. Like it was like he was ready. He was doing everything. He was doing everything he needed to do. He had just had a haircut. He had cooked an amazing meal for himself. Like he was doing everything for himself. And then it's like she felt that and just showed up out of nowhere, saw the changes, and saw that, wow, like this man is serious. He is doing the work. He is, bettering himself. And she just wanted to be a part of that, that she, stopped him on the way out and said, can we come back? Like that was amazing to hear.
Yeah, it brought tears to my eyes too. And as a couple of us say, my eyes get sweaty when we see when we see those things. And so, guys, what we're talking about here is a lot of men, Nanette, tend to just think, oh, I'm going to wait and hope it gets better. And this man didn't. He took action. And that's what we're saying. So, number two is that leadership. He took leadership of himself, and his family and his wife fell right in line, so to speak, because they
Yeah.
wanted to be there. And he wasn't doing it with needy energy. He was doing it to fill himself up. He's like, hey, look, I've
He had to save
recognized that these tools work.
exactly. He had to save himself. And they weren't even living in the same house or anything. And like, because a lot of guys would be like, but we're not living together. How is she going to know that I'm doing the work? But look, when he was finally doing it and he was finally accepting and taking the steps, like that's when she just showed up. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, every business leader knows that quote luck, right, is really when opportunity and hard work meet together. And that's exactly what happened to him is he put the work in, right? He's doing the changes and he was doing it for himself at that point because he thought, hey, the marriage is over. She had moved out. She had taken the kids. It was done, but he continued to do the work and boom. And we see this so many times that I wish the guys that are listening to this, I could just shake you and go, guys, it starts with you. It starts with you making that decision and taking that leadership role.
Yeah, it's honestly like a lot of guys find it hard to believe that and they doubt it. But then when we see the success stories, the client stories, we're like, wow, look, see, it works and he did it. And it's just amazing to be on the other side and see that. Like it's just really unreal.
It is. It is. Well, a third one, and then I'm going to throw out there is the most obvious of all of these, but maybe not for the reason that guys think. The third one is when guys start working out and eating well and taking care of themselves. And they start to look more attractive to their wives. And we're not talking guys don't need to have a six pack necessarily. Sure, your wife may want you to, and may be a nice thing, but that's not really what we're talking about. What I hear so much from the women, and as a guy that used to own a private gym myself, I could hear the conversations throughout the gym into my office. And I would often hear the wives that were in there when their husbands started to exercise, and it was really not the way that they looked physically. It was the fact that they were, as you said, Nanette, they were taking care of themselves. Their stock was, and the way I always think about it is your stock is going up. It's on the rise. And the women often would talk about how hot and how sexy that was for their husband to be doing so, which led, of course, to more intimacy. The guy starts feeling better about himself. She's looking at him differently, and these things can go hand in hand. So tell me about that as far as a woman's point of view goes.
So yeah, I mean, 100%. It makes a huge difference when a guy does start taking care of himself. Whether it's from the inside and from the outside. I feel like we don't talk about it too much, but the outside, like you need that attraction. That's the first thing probably that attracted you to your partner. And along the years, like people let themselves go, they get busy. But when you see that, oh, this person's taking care of themselves again, sometimes you can wonder, like, oh, why? Who's he trying to impress? And that also sparks interest too. And then that brings on something else. But it's also, when she sees that, oh, look, he's going back to, maybe how he was at the beginning, or he's trying to better himself, he's taking advantage of what he's got, he's got his, we take health as well for granted. Like, what is it? What do they say? They say health is wealth, and to basically work on that and to, because it's not just going to show in the appearance, but it's just in everything when you're taking care of yourself, working out, eating healthy. It makes a huge difference, and women can see that and they're attracted to that. And it's like you said, building up on your stock, getting your stock higher, and just it's attractive for women to see that.
I agree. So guys, we've given you three so far. And then I'm going to throw a fourth one out. I'm going to ask you for the fifth here. I know I'm putting you on the spot, and I might take yours with my fourth. But the fourth thing that you can do to be more attractive to your partner, guys, is be decisive. This is something we hear as a complaint from the women all the time. So what you guys probably don't know is we have a lot of women that listen to this show or watch the show on YouTube. And we also have women that will just write into us and tell us what their situation is. And one thing that we hear often is that men they're in their lives stopped being decisive. Thus, the woman has had to be decisive, make the decisions. And often it goes like this is what I hear in Nanette. You let me know if it's true is the woman might say, look, I'm taking care of the kids. I'm making decisions about the schools. I'm making decisions about lunches. I'm making decisions about clothes for the kids. I'm making decisions about doctor's appointments and all of these things. And I would just like my man to come home and be decisive about other areas of our family and our life, cooperatively, of course. Again, don't be a jerk, but being decisive so that she may surrender and relax.
Even if it's for date night, like, oh, be decisive and say, hey, you're in charge of all these things. You've got the kids ready for school. You've made these school decisions. You've made these house decisions. But, sometimes the woman is also expected to make the date decisions. And I feel like that's like just so much. It's like, well, what are you doing? It's so nice for a man to come and be like, hey, I've called the babysitter. She's coming tonight. We're gonna go to this place. This is where it's nice to have to that for her to then just finally not have to make a decision and for her to just go along and enjoy it for once when she's having to make all the other decisions. When, he's at work, he's got his work decisions. She's the one doing the house decisions, the children decisions. Obviously, they talk about it, but she's the one that does have to do the final decision. And like the small things, it all comes down to the wife. So then it's such a nice relief when the man will come and be like, okay, we're doing this tonight. Or, I feel like just even that little thing of deciding what restaurant or deciding what we're eating, where we're ordering out tonight, that makes a huge difference because it's so much to have to decide about everything, even to have to decide what my husband wants to have now or what he wants to watch or what he wants to eat or where he wants to go. It makes a huge difference to have that, that break of him coming and being like, oh, okay, I want to do this. And I'm not saying he should always make these decisions, but, it's nice. It's nice for a man to take control and be like, okay, this weekend we're doing this.
And let me answer this question, Nat. Sexy or not sexy? When a guy keeps coming back to you, right? Or again, you can use your girlfriends and friends as examples. I'm just going to use you as the collective. You now represent all women across the world. When a guy comes to you and says, I don't know, I'm thinking about doing this thing. I'm not sure. And they're hemming and hawing about it back and forth, and they're not making decisions. Sexy or not sexy?
It's the worst thing ever because I feel like a lot of women already, they doubt themselves and they question things. And then for the man to also be doing that, it's like, who's going to be the one to make the decision? It's stressful. It's just like, you're meant to be, the lighthouse, the alpha, the leader in a way. And it's nice for you to know, like, no, this is what we want to do and be sure about it. Certainty is so important. And, whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing, when you have that certainty, it's going to go right just because of that certainty.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know you and I have talked about this offline. Is one of the common things that guys will use as excuses not for joining the program. And look, guys, you're out there. I'm not blaming you. I did the same thing. Is they will use the excuse of like, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if I have to check with my wife to make sure I can make the time commitment or the financial commitment or whatever else it is. Whereas there are some guys that are like, nope, I'm bettering my life and my family and I'm going forward and I'm doing this. I'm guessing you hear that a lot.
Yeah, and the guys that say that with such certainty, they're the ones that probably get the most results the quickest and the best results because they're going all in. They're 100% certain and they've taken the decision and they're just running with that decision. No matter, and they're not taking no for an answer. They're doing everything and anything to basically get the results that they want.
I love it. Burning the boats, guys, burning the boats. Nanette, give me number 5.
Number 5, probably, we did say working on yourself, which has to do with confidence as well. So I guess we've said that. So I think confidence, is huge. And I think being exciting as well, I think that's important. I think that, we have one life to live and, you picked this person because you want to spend the rest of your life with them. And isn't your life meant to be fun and exciting, not just the same routine day in, day out? I mean, obviously, we all have our routines and our schedules, but it's nice to also have a little bit of an adventure. And I think that, a lot of reasons why a lot of people, check out is because they're missing that adventure and they're not getting that anymore within their partner because they've just gotten comfortable and they're just used to a certain way. So I think it's nice for the man to bring in, adventure and excitement and just mix things up. I think you've said it before, spice is the variety of life.
It is, and it is. And I think you've obviously, guys, confidence is huge. Most of you guys have confidence in business, but for some reason, when I was going through my shit, going home, I wasn't as confident because I was like, I don't know how to deal with this. It's just a storm coming in here, and a lot of guys just check out. And one of the things that we teach is we teach businessmen how to be a CFO in their own home. And it's not your chief financial officer, by the way, guys. When we talk about being the CFO, we're talking about being the chief fun officer. And when was the last time you did that with your kids? When's the last time you did that with yourself? And also, you know what? When's the last time you did that with your wife? How attractive is it for a woman, if you guys can imagine, being fun, having fun? Everybody wants to be around the fun people. Everybody does. You go to a party, whoever's laughing, the group that's laughing and having a great time, you all secretly want to be involved in that group and involved in that joke. You get to bring that energetic response back home.
Yeah. And exactly like you said, whether it is just, with your wife or even bringing that excitement to the kids, like, I know when I'm being silly, my kids love it. Like, they're like, oh, mom's being so fun. Like, it's nice to bring in some excitement. Like, we'll be stuck in traffic and I'll do something silly and they will be so happy. Like, it goes a long way to bring in some excitement into the house. Like, you know, why not? Why isn't there more of that? Why do we take that for granted? Why are we so comfortable in the usual schedules?
Yeah, and I think guys just get there, and we get complacent, guys. The way I look at it, Nanette, and women do too, by the way. So, but we're talking mostly to guys here. Is when you leave work or leave the gym or leave wherever you go regularly, you go on autopilot in your car and you drive the same route the same way each and every time. And oftentimes this translates very similarly to the way that you operate in your marriage and in your relationship. Now, I know not everybody's married. Some people are in long-term relationships, partnerships, divorced, separated, etc. But you guys get the general idea. And for you guys that are on the way out of your relationship, whether it be your choice or not, you will get into another relationship eventually. I get that you're in the tunnel in the darkness. It will happen. And you want to have these skills, these 5 things that you've just been given to ensure that you're more attractive for either your current partner or your next partner. And I'm going to give, if that's okay, I'm going to give a bonus one. I mean, Nanette, you always wrap up a few. So, confidence, fun, and all of these into one. So we'll give that to you. So you guys probably have like 10 things now at this point that are going to make you more attractive to your wife. But I'm going to give you a bonus one, guys, that's really going to do this. And this is one that most guys just completely miss. And the reason we miss this as men, Nanette, is we've never been taught. And that is actually how to allow your woman to be seen, heard, and desired. Right. And so we have a thing we call the hidden motives technique that we utilize. But when you can allow your woman to be seen, heard, and desired, you then become the funnel, the focus place for her to get her cup filled, her needs met. And when that happens and her needs are being met, well, if she feels safe, things start to happen that are a lot more fun around the house.
Exactly, 100%. Because end of the day, like, the wife wants to feel safe and validated as well, and just know that, this is her person that she can say everything to and say and just have him be there and just get that support and, like the lighthouse.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. Well, Nanette, any parting words of advice you can give for a guy out there who's going, hey, look, um, you know, sex and intimacy are important to me. It's kind of this, I look at it as like the scoreboard. Is my relationship healthy or not? If you're not having sex, there's probably an issue there, right? Together. Not what all guys want. They want love, respect, admiration, and a great marriage. But again, intimacy is just like one of those litmus tests for a lot of people in a
Yeah.
marriage. If a guy's thinking, okay, I want to be more attractive for my wife, I want to draw her in more, what are 2 things that he can do today to get started?
Get activated, number one.
It is true, right? I would definitely help me.
And don't put it off. I feel like people will be like, yeah, yeah, I'll get to that, I'll get to that, I'll get to that. And then it will be like months have passed and it's like, oh, I was meant to, do this, put in the work. And it's crazy. Like we put things off and then we think, oh, I'll have plenty of time to get to that. And then you don't. And then months have passed and you're still in the same place. And sometimes even worse. I think that it's so important, like to just, I think you always say this as well, in massive, what is it? When there's massive insight, take massive action.
In the moment of insight, take massive action. Yes.
Exactly. And I feel like that is so true. When you feel like, okay, this is what I need to do it. Don't waste time. We don't know how long we have, if not now, then when, basically.
Gentlemen, you heard it here. Nanette talks to thousands of business leaders since she's been involved with the Powerful Man as an advisor. Also always talking to her girlfriends, of course, and herself as a woman. You guys now have actionable steps. You have no excuses. Actionable steps you can take today to make yourself more attractive to your partner. So if you're saying, hey, Doug, I'm not having as much sex as I would like to. The bedroom's a desert. There's things I heard. Or I lay next to my wife. We're 6 inches apart, but 6 miles away. And you want a way for her to initiate. A lot of guys want this, right? Like my wife never initiates. I want her to be more attractive to me. I want her to do that. You now have a roadmap or some actionable plans to do it. And as Nanette said, 2 things: become activated, right? I was deactivated inside my marriage as well. So I get it. Become activated. And number 2, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Nanette, thank you so much for being here as always.
Much, Doug. Sorry, I butchered it, but yeah, you said it right. You say it perfect.
No, your way is just as good. So, it's all good. Guys, thank you. As we always say, take massive action. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this episode. But as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. You see, there are 2 types of men that listen to a podcast like this. Those that go on from one podcast or show to another, just hoping things are going to change and realizing that they're going to be in the same place month after month, year after year. You see, I was this guy, so I completely get it. You may just not be ready. But there's also a second man that listens to a show just like this. And this is a guy who takes massive action so they can shorten the learning curve, compress time, and get results to be the wolf. See, WOLF is an acronym for wise, open, loving, and fierce. Now, ask yourself, which one am I? And just be honest with yourself there. And there's no judgment on my end, but if you're ready to move from deactivated deer mode, which is defend, excuse, explain, react, to activated wolf, wise, open, loving, and fierce, then go over to thepowerfulman.com/grow and go there now. In fact, I'll make it super easy for you. I will even put the link right in the description here so you can just click it and go over there now to learn more. Guys, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Go from deactivated to activated because like I said, life is too short for average. And I'll see you on the next episode.